What's going on, guys, and welcome back to a brand new episode of part number 2 of the MotoGP 25 career mode for the Termas de Rio Hondo circuit, the Argentinian Grand Prix. If you missed the first episode, I strongly recommend you go back and check it out because it had a little bit of everything in Moto 3. But if you did see it, or if you don't want to go back and watch the episode, here is the championship standings at the end of round number 1. It is Joel Kelso who signed for the Red Bull KTM squad. He leads the championship ahead of Rueda and Fernandez. We came back to 4th. We came back to 4th at the end of that first weekend in Thailand, a wet Grand Prix of course, but no such thing here in Argentina. The sun is shining, 25-degree air temperature, 36 degrees track temperature, makes for a pretty stable and perfect weekend of weather for round 2 of the season. So jumping straight into it, no messing around, we're going for practice the first couple of laps on this Termas de Rio Hondo circuit. Obviously not the first time that I've ridden this circuit, as we opened our Tech 3 challenge in MotoGP here in Termas de Rio Hondo in Argentina, and we are round 2 for the Moto 3 World Championship, and straight away finding the limit there as we dropped down a gear too quick and ended up running off the track at turn number 2. We come back on slightly in front of Marcus Uriarte there, so apologies to him, but no harm done, no damage done as we head onto our second fly-in lap behind the 2 CIP bikes of Scott Ogden and Noah Detweiler. We're going to try and use a bit of slipstream, use a bit of a tow down this back straight, the long back straight, which will give us a little bit of time. So just trying to figure things out early on in this session and get a couple of laps under our belt and kind of just see what the pace is like, see what we're feeling, how we're feeling going into the first race, the race on Sunday, the first dry race of the season, of course, after a washout in Thailand, which ended up working into our favour, coming through from 18th on the grid. Hopefully no such qualifying woes here in Argentina, but you never know, because one lap on this game doesn't seem to be my strong suit as we head into the final corner for the end of our first fly-in lap after a mistake on the actual first fly-in lap. And hopefully, fingers crossed, it's going to be a good one as we come across the line. It is top of the timesheets with our teammate Caro in second place. So a good start to the weekend, 7/10 of a second in our back pocket. But then, just trying to find the limit, we lose the front into turn number 1, which puts us out of action for a little bit of time. But we do get out for the final 10 minutes of the weekend. We're back behind the CIP of Detweiler, and we're going to use him again as a little bit of a marker for this first sector. But the AI we learned in the MotoGP career mode episode of championship mode in the Tech 3, they take a little bit of a strange line here. They go really, really wide, which makes this right-hander onto the back straight super tight, which plays into our hands because we can run a nice tight line and then just kind of throw the bike into the right onto the back straight and then use the speed, carry the momentum to actually move up the order a little bit. So we might have to be replicating that in Moto 3 should we end up with a poor qualifying. But so far so good. At the end of our soft tyre run, we do a 45.1 and we do go top of the standings by a second. So that's that. Easily through to Q2. A second over Jose Antonio Rueda, Piqueras third, and our teammate doing the business in P4 as well, and championship leader Joel Kelso rounding out the top 5. Now for qualifying, because I'm still finding my feet on this game, we're going to up the AI, and joining us in Q2 is Tech 3 of Rollstone, Foggia, who was in that leading group at the start of the Argentina race, Pini on the Dynavolt, and Luca Lunetta on the Aspar. So those 4 riders joining us in Q number 2. But as we cross the line to start our first flying lap of the session here in Argentina, but as we head down in towards turn number 1 for the start of our Q2 lap, we've got a yellow flag in the 3rd sector towards the end of the lap, so somebody has crashed in that sector. But so far so good for us as we pile into turn number 2. We run a little bit wide on entrance, just didn't have the feeling. You see the left side of that soft front tyre really heating up there as Bertelli loses his lap to a yellow flag as well. So somebody else has gone down. I think it is at this section of the track, which is where the AI are getting caught out, and there's another rider down at turn number 9. It's David Munoz who has crashed, and that unfortunately brings the yellow flags out, which cancels our lap. So we'll have to go again on the next run. We rolled out of it. It was a 46.7, and the leaders are now into the 45s. It's David Almanza on the Leopard, a 45.305. So let's see what we could do as we come to the end of our lap. We're a 10th down at the minute from Almanza in that third split. Let's see if we can get a nice run through this final section of the track, nice and late on the brakes. Try and carry the brake into the middle of the corner, get it stopped down into the bottom gear, then shifting back to second into third before we hit the apex over the curb, across the line. What's the lap time? It's a 46.3, and it's 16 thousandths of a second shy of what David Almanza has achieved in this session. But as we skip on to what will be probably our final lap of this session, we will get another lap over the line, but if it's good enough, we will probably roll out of this one. There's somebody else goes down. Luca Lanetta and Jacob Ralston lose their lap times to the yellow flag, but at the front, it is the 6:58 signing for this season, Taio Furusato, who leads the way. He's on provisional pole of 46.2 as we head into turn number 2. Again, wide on entry, and we lost a bit of time, but we're going to be a little bit patient onto the back straight, try and make up a little bit of time. And even though we go red in the first sector by 0.3 of a second, we are down on our previous best. But we did make a tiny little mistake on the lap. It wasn't the cleanest banker lap in the world, so there is time to find as we head in towards the hairpin of turn 5 at the end of the back straight, trying to get the bike turned, get on the power up and over the inside curb, and there we go. We do find a little bit of time, a 10th and a half to be exact, and we go half a second clear in the middle sector, sector 2. Let's see if we can keep this rolling as we head towards this tight right-hander of turn 7 that then opens up into turn 8, and then it's pile up the hill and try and get turn 9 and 10, which is actually the part of the track that I'm struggling at the most. This left-hander, I just can't quite carry the momentum through. We understeer a little bit wide there as we go through the right, and there we go, half a second clear still as we head through the third split. Can we keep it rolling? We can't make a mistake in this final sector because we are on course for not only provisional pole but also a 44 as we head into the final corner. We do go a little bit deep on the entry, but that will just allow us to get the line through the final corner, back across the left, over the line. It is a 44, it's a 44.738, and it is provisional pole, which will turn into pole position for round number 2 in Argentina, our first pole position of the season, and it is only half a second that we do it by over Taio Furusato. David Almanza will complete the front row, with Foggia, Quiles and Uriarte on the MLAV bike completing the top 6. Jose Antonio Rueda 12th, and Kelso further down the order as well.
Welcome to Termas de Rio Hondo MotoGP fans. We are live from Argentina for the South American round of MotoGP. In a few moments, we'll move to the main straight to watch the start of the Moto3 race.
Here we go then. It's race time in Argentina for round 2 of the MotoGP 25 career mode in Moto3. And we're starting this one from pole position for the first time. You saw further down the order, Kelso 9th, Rueda 12th. The championship leaders, the championship duo who were battling till the very end in Thailand, starting further down the order with their work cut out here. But we're joined on the front row by the 6:58 rider of Taio Furusato and David Almanza on the Leopard starting third. It's going to be a good race. It's going to be a close battle. We have upped the AI, and let's see what we can do as we go racing in Argentina.
Formation lap complete, and riders are lined up on the Termas de Rio Hondo front straight. Just a few more seconds and we'll get going in the Argentine Grand Prix.
It's time to go racing for the Argentinian Grand Prix. 7 laps of the Termas de Rio Hondo circuit, and we're about to get underway as we rev up towards the start of this race, and we are underway, and it's an okay launch. We get done by Furusato and Almanza, and here comes Quiles and Foggia on the inside as well, but we're going to hold what will be 4th position into turn number 1, so losing a couple of places on the run into the opening corner, but we do hold 4th, and we are in the mix and in that battle, which is the main thing. At least we didn't get completely swallowed and have our work cut out to get through the pack. So through turn number 2, again, the AI running a little bit wide, so we're going to try and use that to our advantage to swap back underneath Dennis Foggia, but we just had to roll out of it a little bit too much to make sure that we got under Foggia and not smash into the side of the Italian. So unfortunately lost a bit of momentum, but we're going to try and pick that momentum back up with a bit of slipstream from the leading 3 as they all fan out in towards turn number 5. We look to go around the outside of Dennis, which will again turn to the inside on the exit, try and get the power down and look to try and see if we can just work our way forwards here in the Argentinian Grand Prix. But at the middle of the lap, we are about to look to take third from Dennis Foggia. Not Dennis Foggia, my apologies, David Almanza. We get through on Almanza, Foggia into second, and Forasato is still leading the way from the middle of the front row. So both me and Almanza dropping from the front row down to third and fourth position, as Almanza again looking to the inside at my weaker part of the track as we get a big slide on a change of direction. The back end just breaking away from us there as we flicked it right, and now as we come to the end of the lap, again, we're really quick through that left. It's just that little left-right section before turn 11 that I can't quite get right. But as we head into the final corner for the first time, it's Forasato who leads the way on the sick bike. Foggia second. We hold third on our yellow Snipers bike. Almanza fourth. Quiles fifth. Uriarte sixth. Pini and Munoz, the 2 Dynavolt bikes, in 7th and 8th. And Luca Lanetta currently rounding out the top 9 as we head into turn 1. A bit of a moment again on the brakes as we just entered turn 1 and hit that apex. The back end just stepping away from us a little bit, so that gave the invitation for Almanza to have a look, but we are going to hold that position and do enough for now to hold on to P3. But as you can see, the gap at the front is opening up a little bit, 0.6 of a second, as we're just struggling to find our mojo here and get into this race, as Almanza again looking to the inside, doing a little bit of contact as we just had to sit up a little bit to avoid in those absolute minimal contact as we again get very close to the side of that Leopard bike as we head in towards the final couple of corners on the end of lap number 2, down in towards the hairpin. It's going to get tight as Quiles now gets up the inside and pushes us wide, and that invites Uriarte through as well on the MLAV bike. So all of a sudden we've gone from 3rd to 6th in a matter of a couple of corners as we cross the line to start lap number 3. We're going to pick up a slipstream now from the Leopard bike, and we're going to get ahead of Quiles and Uriarte, and we're back into P4. So just how quick this race can change with a slipstream and just a typical Moto3 racing that you get now on these games. It definitely have made the AI very more much more aggressive and just much more racy in general, and also the fact that everybody's pretty much in a group and there's just nowhere to hide in this career mode either, with the pace of the AI and just the, you know, everyone just capitalizes on every little tiny mistake. It gets very intense. But as we head down towards turn 5 for the 3rd time, we've got Almanza on the inside. Up ahead, Forasato's trying to get back at Dennis Foggia. We get collected by Almanza, but Forasato's crashed out of the race. Forasato's gone down. I don't know whether Foggia was involved in that, whether they made contact or not, because we was too busy trying to stay on the bike after Almanza T-boned us into turn 5. But Forasato is down and out of the race, and that leaves Foggia at the front on his own. A good probably half a second, 0.6 of a second in front of us, and we are still under pressure from David Almanza on the Leopard bike. Uriarte is now in 4th, and that looked like it might have been Pini trying to get up the inside as Almanza thought about lunging it up the inside. It's actually Munoz on the other Dynavolt bike, so Munoz has moved his way forward. Rueda's also up into 7th place, but we're going to get a look here from the helicam at what happened to Tayo Furusato. Was there contact with Dennis Foggia? He's on the inside, but he's not quite close enough, and he just loses the front. And I tell you what, Foggia is very lucky not to be collected here as we jump on board with Furusato. You see the front end go, and that is all she wrote for Tayo Furusato, who crashes out of the lead battle. But now, skipping on to lap number 4, we are back onto the back of Dennis Foggia. We've managed to get a head down, get a bit of momentum. We've opened up the gap behind to 0.7 of a second, and we have caught Dennis Foggia and passed the Italian on the CF Moto Aswell bike for the lead of the race. But he's going to come back at us into turn number 5, I'm sure of that, as we head into turn 5. And exactly like David Almanza, Foggia barges his way through and barges his way back into the lead, but we're not going to have any of it. We're going to come back at him, trying to hang it around the outside. That doesn't work, so we switch back to the inside. That will then open up turn number 7 once again on the brakes, later on the brakes on Foggia, but again he comes back at us. The entry speed to some of these corners from the AI is quite mind-blowing, really. I thought I was going in there quite quick, and Foggia just comes steaming into the side of us. So Foggia takes the lead once again. We are back into 2nd place. We've got half a second to the MLAV bike behind us of Uriarte. Then it's Almanza. Quiles still holding 5th. as Foggia picks up a warning for irresponsible riding. But further back, Stefano Nepa has crashed out at turn number 2. We're riding on board, looking back at Nepa. So that's both sick 58 bikes out of this race, unfortunately. So that's a shame for Paolo Simoncelli and the Sick 58 squad. But back at the front, we're going to try now and get back ahead of Foggia. A little bit of to and fro in here. We're getting the lead, then we're giving the lead up. And it is eventually, as we hit the brakes, we do take the lead, and this time we hang Foggia outside. We leave him outside. We don't give him the chance to try and get back up the inside and T-bone us, but that does then mean he gets the better exit, and he's going to hang it around the outside. We go side by side, and Foggia pulls off the move around the outside to take the lead, and now we're under pressure from Uriarte, who gets through into second place. We're now going to try and do the switchback on him and see if we can get ourselves back up into the second place, but we have a bit of a slide which just kills the momentum a little bit, and then into our weakest point of the track, Uriarte says thank you very much and takes second place from us, and it's Foggia now leading from Uriarte. We are still under pressure from Almanza, who just will not go away. Almanza is just here in this leading fight, and he seems to be just biding his time as we pick up a track limits warning, the first of 5 that you get in Moto3 and MotoGP as well, in general, as we head into the penultimate corner. And Almanza again trying to get through, and then we pick up another track limits warning on the inside, getting frustrated there just in the heat of the battle. But here comes Almanza again, who seems to be rapid. I don't know whether we lost that much drive hitting that inside curb or what, but Almanza seems pretty rapid on that Leopard in a straight line as we head on to lap number 6, as Uriarte still sat behind Dennis Foggia. We're going to see if we can just do that typical line that I've been mentioning. We switch back and we beautifully cut up the inside of the MLAV Honda, and now side by side with Dennis Foggia as we head in towards turn 5, 3 wide. As we get through, we roll off slightly just to kind of duck back into the slipstream almost, and just try and open the corner up a little bit at turn 5, because these two are going to go in side by side. Foggia up the inside of Uriarte, they're both from wide, and we say thank you very much. Broke a little bit earlier and get back up the inside, but we're not done yet, because here comes Dennis Foggia again, trying his classic around the outside move at turn number 6. He's got it done, I think, and Uriarte and Almanza's now coming. Max Quiles is there as well, but we do hold on to second place, and we try and get the momentum. We try and carry the speed through the corner to get back through on Foggia, but into turn number 9 we're going to be on the wrong side of Dennis, and we're going to have to kind of back out of that attack and relinquish that fight for the lead for now. But as we head in towards turn 11, we get it all wrong really. We went in a way too wide, carried so little speed, and ended up falling back behind Uriarte, who we pushed through turn 11. We get up the inside of him though into the final corner. Almanza's looking as well. Is he going to be able to get up the inside? Not quite. He slots back in behind the MLAV bike, his fellow Honda rider. But as we come on to the final lap of the race, it is 0.284, 0.3 now to Foggia. So Foggia's got a little bit of a cushion in the lead of this race, and we're going to have to push to the very end if we want to do anything about the Italian. We've still got, though, the pressure from the 3 behind, Uriarte, Almanza and Quiles. Then there's a bit of a gap back to Rueda, that is now, who's come all the way through into P6. Munoz down to 7th, Pini in 8th and Kelso 9th. But look at this, we're going to get the switch back on Foggia, and we take the lead of the race on the final lap of the Grand Prix. Can we hold on now, though? That is the question, because we know how strong they are on the brakes into turn 5, on the brakes into turn 7. Can we see what we can do, though? Can we hang on to the lead of the race? They're 3 wide behind us. Max Quiles looks to come up the inside. Foggia can't get through. We outbrake Foggia. We defend the lead. We hold the lead. And behind, it is as you were. It is Uriarte, Almanza and Quiles still there for 3rd, 4th and 5th. But as we head now into the final couple of corners, the final half of the race, we've got everything crossed so we can try and hang on to this lead into turn 7. We get through there safely. Foggia, though, on the exit, just carrying the speed through. We're side by side with Foggia. We hang on to the lead, but we're coming into the worst part of the track, and we've gone wide on the way in to try and carry the speed, and Foggia planks his bike on the inside. We make contact, and that gives him the lead, and now Uriarte is coming through, and Almanza, and all of a sudden we've gone from 1st to 4th, but we hang on to 3rd position around the outside of Almanza, and it's going to be a final corner dive bomb surely if we want to get something from this race. Down the inside of Uriarte, we make contact, and that's now looking at Almanza, who comes through to second. We're going to hang on to third, and unfortunately for Uriarte, he gets hung out to dry into fourth. I feel a little bit bad, but at the same time, we do take our first podium position of the season. It's Foggia who wins, Almanza second, we take third with Marcus Uriarte fourth, Quiles fifth, Rueda in 6th position, Pini, Munoz, Kelso and Piqueras rounding out the top 10. Adrian Fernandez comes home in 11th, Jacob Rolston rounding out the first page of results in 12th. But what a crazy race. Did not get a minute to breathe in that one. Dennis Foggia takes over the top of the standings with that win. Kelso in second, Rueda third. Only 5 points split in the top 3. We're just 1 point further back, making it 4 riders covered by 6 points in the standings. Almanza jumps up to 5th ahead of his teammate as well. But for the first time this season, and hopefully not the last time, we are on the podium, and I'm pretty happy with that. Cormac Buchanan, the final riders, get a point in this season so far. Red Bull, KTM, IO continue to lead the standings. But for the first time this year, we'll go down to Parc Ferme at the end of that.
We're in the Parc Ferme where the third place finisher has just arrived back. This is a podium that's good for the morale of the whole team and confirms that the rider bike package is really competitive.
So there we go, we can get our breath back at the end of a chaotic Argentinian Grand Prix where we crossed the line in third to take our first podium of the season. But we have the small matter of the development, the track engineer debrief, which to be honest I don't really know what to do, because at the end of the last episode we were looking at developing the frame, which I still think is key. And we do go to the frame option because of that turn 9, turn 10, just trying to change the direction. It just didn't seem to work there for me. However, in saying that, the engine compared to Almanza, for example, did feel a little bit weaker, but that's what we're going to do. We're going to continue focusing on the frame for now and see what happens. But there we go. That has been part number 2 of the MotoGP 25 career mode. If you guys enjoyed, hit the like button, hit subscribe, and I will see you for round number 3 in America very soon. So until then, thank you for watching and goodbye.